This guy Eagle again, and the question that we're gonna pursue today is about the interaction between what we're calling imprinting and symbols. And this one is a little bit dicey. Basically, we are recording information all the time, like we've spoken about the trees and the animals and humans doing it all the time. We really record information in a closed way or a open way. What does that mean? A closed way, it'd be locked down like a traumatic experience. There's no energy going through the imprint. Now, I may call this symbol sometimes because most times when something records, it's imprinted, and there's a symbol that records on the outside of the imprint that gives access. If we're doing transformational work, a lot of times I'll play music from the 50s or 60s or something because it'll activate the symbols that people recorded that their trauma was imprinted at that time, in that era. And that sound, that melody of that music will open the symbol, and the imprint will open itself up and start to process. So the symbol is usually the cover, the skin of an imprint. So a lot of times I use the words interchangeably, but they're not exactly interchangeable. The symbol is actually the wrapper, if you will, of the imprint. But they will close up, and then in therapies or in other experiences, they will gradually open. You'll get pieces of it and pieces of it and pieces of it. And it will eventually, if you continue to face that reality, it will open up so it's free-flowing. Life force energy is flowing fully. In the research or in the healing paradigm, we use a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being fully open, 1 being closed. But I have heard of some people reversing that order, with 1 being wide open and 10 being closed. So it really depends on the paradigm you're using. But the point is, everything is recording all the time. And it's up to this physical form or the species to decide how closed up it's going to be or how open. So a lot of people get stuck in the belief that I'm going to remember this lesson, so I never want to do it again. So it imprints and it records and it closes itself up. I'm never letting that go, so I never want to repeat that. But being in there with no life force, it'll eventually fester, and the lack of life force energy into that area will definitely evolve into a disease. And if you're really going after transformation from diseases or just everyday life, we're trying to stay even with how nature's evolving, you have to open that up so the life force energy can flow through it and cleanse it of the previous day's activities and allow the new to come in. And that's one of the problems we have with a real busy lifestyle as humans these days. We don't take enough time to be quiet and allow that information to digest itself. So imprinting is a big teaching and learning. You don't get away from it. You have to. Earlier today, there was a reflection of somebody who was talking on the phone with somebody that's got a big illness, and they were talking about somebody that had a real hard time crossing over, or they were dying. They spent a lot of time in the hospital bed. This is often true when there's a lot of closed imprints, because they have to quiet down and they have to access those imprints to open up in order to be able for their spirit to release. That's another big subject. that's going on. But, you know, our ancestors that practiced the Catholic faith did a lot of work on that. They call that transition period from before death to after death the purgatory. And that is kind of a hell for the person or species that's trying to go through there, because they have to open up all these different imprints in order to get their spirit out of the imprints in order to be able to go to the next incarnation. There's the Buddhists have done a lot of studies on that too. They've put it in the form of mathematics, and it doesn't make it any less or more, it's just a different language. But generally speaking, if the imprinting is closed up and kind of like put in a drawer somewhere in the body, like memories that you don't want to deal with, they have to open up somehow in order for the spirit to get out of there, because it's stuck in there. It's stuck in its own form of punishment. And that can be a big deal. So basically, to wrap this one up, we have this imprinting process that we are going through every day, and not just humans. I mean, animals, trees, plants, fish, everybody goes through it. Because we're part of the universal intelligence, we have to grow, we have to give that information back to the whole intelligence that produces evolution. So we open up those imprints, it's free flowing. The symbol actually wraps around the imprint, and the imprint can have many shapes, many sizes, and can be at various degrees of compaction or compression. And that's a full study when somebody really takes that on. You have to learn that. But generally, for the general knowledge is to know that that is going on. So, anyway, have some fun with it if you can. I know it sounds real serious, but it's actually kind of fun because it frees you up to be more expansive and follow some of those other traits that you're given. I don't know, might be something to it.